English. Is that okay? Because I have some American friends, and you know they wouldn't understand. So everybody can understand, right? Okay. I just wanted to thank everybody, you know, for coming here tonight. It's my birthday.
Eu não sabia.
So I want to thank everybody for coming, and I decided doing this, you know, a party for myself and everybody, my friends, just because like about a few months ago I read a book that changed, you know, the way I thought, you know, the way I think about a few things, you know, in my life. This book is called Cookies and Shoes from Joyce Meyer. She, you know, the book is about, like, she talks about celebrating your life. She says, like, we have, like, forgotten, you know, to celebrate. We, you know, we go through, you know, our days, and we go through our birthdays, and we don't celebrate anymore because we get older, and we think because we are getting older, we don't have to celebrate because it's just another day, it's just another year, you know. And she says that's, you know, that's not right to do, because we should celebrate because we are alive, you know. We have life, we have health, we have our family, we have our friends. And that's, you know, that's like a lot of reasons for us to celebrate. So after I read that book, you know, I was like, hey, you know, that's so cool. I'm gonna do that, because I understood what she said, because, you know, it was like so deep, you know, it talked to me. Because I was like, I have to celebrate, I have to be happy, you know, with my life. I have to enjoy my life, because sometimes we go through our lives, we live year and year and years, you know, and we don't celebrate anymore. We don't enjoy our lives, we just go through it. We just survive. We don't live, we just survive. So that called my attention. I was like, I'm gonna plan a birthday party for my friends, because, you know, you guys are my friends. My life, you know, my family is here, you know, my mom's here, and my dad couldn't be here, but he wanted to come, but he couldn't. And my brother's in Brazil, but she's here representing my family. So I was like, I'm gonna do this because I deserve it, you know, and everybody else, so does everybody else. Everybody deserves to celebrate, you know, and you guys are here, so you guys are celebrating with me, so it's like a party for you too, you know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to do it. And I have, you know, a lot of you know I have been going through some things that has tried to put me down. And after I read that book talks about a lot of things, you know. It talks about celebrating your life, talks about giving yourself permission to celebrate and to enjoy. You know, the book is all about enjoying. That's why the book's called Cookies and Shoes, because she talks to women a lot. And she says, you know, sometimes we, you know, us women, we're like so busy with stuff, you know, with our families, with our kids and everything. And she says, you know, go ahead and eat the cookie. You know, sometimes you're like starving. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, I have to go on this diet. I can't gain weight. I can't do this. I can't do that. And you don't enjoy yourself. So she says, go ahead and eat that cookie. You know, go ahead and go to the mall and buy that shoe. You know, that's why it's called Cookies and Shoes, because that's what, you know, women like to do. Go buy, you know, stuff, clothes, shoes, bags, you know what I mean? So she says, go, you know, spend that money, spend that $100, $50, $200, whatever, and do that for yourself, because you deserve it, you know what I mean? So I thought that was like so nice. That book changed, you know, my life, changed the way I think, you know. That's why I'm doing this. And like I was saying, a lot of things has happened. I don't know if a lot of you know what happened with my son Kevin about in 2008. He was taken away from me for one day. He came up with some marks, and I took him to the doctor. You know, long story short, I took him to the doctor, and I was at the hospital because I didn't know what he had. And there came two police officers with a lady from Child Services, and they took him because they didn't know what he had, and they accused me from beating him. And that was real hard, you know, because he laughed screaming, and you know, I was left crying, and that was real hard phase for me. He was taken by the government, of course, and they had custody of him for 5 months. And I was without him for 5 months. For like 2 weeks, when they took him, for 2 weeks, I didn't know where he was. I didn't know what they were feeding him, how he was sleeping, what he was doing. It was like the hottest, the longest 2 weeks of my life, to tell the truth. I called them all the time, and I called them every day to this place that they took him to. They couldn't tell me where he was. They couldn't give me any information. And that was like the hardest thing. And after, I got to see him, he was at his, this American house, a foster family, and he was there and he was fine. And so I had more, contact with him. I could see him once a week for 1 hour. So that was like hard too, because I had to see him at a park where everybody was around, because they accused me from beating him. And even if I did not beat him, I was the one responsible for him, because I'm his mom, and he was in my custody, So then I could see him like that. So I couldn't go to a place where it was only me and him. So it had to be a place where everybody was around, and everybody had to be looking and seeing what I was doing, what I was telling him, what he was telling me. It was like very hard. And then 5 months, that took 5 months. And after I did what they asked me to do, I went to court a couple of times, a lot of times. And after I did what they asked me to do, I got him back. And to me, that was a miracle, because people told me that I wasn't gonna get him back, or it would take like a year or longer, because that's what it usually takes. That's what they said. It takes about a year to do something like that, for a kid to go through the system, the government, until they find out what really happened. And then I had to take some anger management classes. Seriously, I had to do that. Parenting classes, crazy stuff. But I had to do it because I wanted my son back. So for me, that was a miracle. A lot of you know, from the church, a lot of you know what I went through, how long that took, how hard it was for me. And for me, that was a miracle. So for all these things happening to me, what happened to Kevin recently, last year I got divorced. So a lot of these things, tried, to put me down. All these things tried to like tell me, hey, this is the end. This is what your life is gonna be. Like there's always gonna be something that's gonna happen that's gonna take your joy away, or that's gonna, So all these things came to me, and it was telling me, the devil was trying to put this stuff, and tell me, this is the end for you. There's nothing else for you. Where's God? Where's God's promises? Is it gonna come true? You know what I mean? So all these things started to like try, to put me down, make me a bitter person, make me a mad person, an upset person, sad person. You know what I mean? So it was like, one day I stopped. I was like, hey, this is not gonna happen. All these things that has happened has a purpose, and I know that, because I know everything happens in our lives for a purpose. God has a plan for everything that happens to us. Even if it's real hard, even if you can't go through, you say it's the end for me, it hurts, but it's not, because our lives don't end like that. God's if you have a promise from God, you won't die until it's gonna come true. You know what I mean? So I was like, this is not gonna be the stuff that happens to me is not gonna decide who I am. You know what I mean? Because a lot of things that happens to us, you live, thinking all this is gonna define who you are. That all you're gonna be is a loser. You know what I mean? Because all these things happens to you. So I was like, this is not gonna decide who I am. This is not gonna decide how I'm gonna live my life. And I'm gonna do the complete opposite. I'm gonna be a happy person. I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna live life. I'm gonna enjoy it and have joy. You know what I mean? Because it's the thing for you to do when things like that happen to you is live depressed. You get depressed. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to talk to your friends. You don't want to. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, this is not gonna be me. This is all.